So we're diving into Azure Cosmos DB. We all want to build these amazing, modern, scalable apps. But what if I told you that the biggest, most critical decisions you're going to make, the ones that truly dictate your app's performance, have almost nothing to do with the code you write? Seriously, they happen way before that, right at the very beginning, in the design phase.
Look, any great application has to have a solid database foundation. It's just a fact. But when you're working with a NoSQL database like Cosmos DB, the old rulebook kind of goes out the window. So the real question you have to ask yourself is the foundation you're building really built to last? Let's start with what is probably the single biggest mindset shift of them all.
All right, our first stop is easily the most fundamental shift you need to make. It's all about rethinking the data model itself. This means we're leaving behind the comfortable, structured world of relational tables and fully embracing the power and flexibility of self-contained JSON documents.
Think about it like this. A traditional relational database? It's kind of like a giant Lego set where every single entity, your users, your products, your orders, they're all in separate little plastic bags. To build anything useful, you have to perform these complex join operations just to bring all the pieces together. A Cosmos DB document, on the other hand, well, that's like getting the fully assembled model right there in the box. Everything you need for a specific task is there, ready to go in a single blazing fast read operation.
And this practice, this whole idea, it's called denormalization. By embedding all the related info right into that single document, we just dramatically cut down on the number of queries and updates your app has to make for its most common jobs. It is all about optimizing for performance, right from the jump.
But, and this is a big but, this doesn't mean you should just go nuts and embed everything everywhere. No way. This is where the real art and science of database design kicks in. You've got this crucial choice to make. Do you embed your data? Do you reference it like in the old days? Or do you maybe use a hybrid of both? I'm telling you, getting this right is one of the most important decisions you are going to face.
So, when is the right time to embed? Well, the simple rule of thumb is to embed when you have these one-to-few relationships. Think about a user profile and their 2 or 3 shipping addresses, right? If that related data doesn't change very often, and this is the crucial part, it doesn't grow without limit, embedding is the perfect strategy to supercharge your read performance.
But that immediately brings up a huge question, right? What happens when you have a one-to-many relationship where that many could be, well, massive? This is exactly where a really common and frankly a pretty dangerous anti-pattern starts to show up.
Just take the classic example of a blog post. It feels so intuitive, doesn't it? Just embed all the comments right inside the post document as an array. But this is a total trap. As one developer put it perfectly, the problem is that the comments array is unbounded. There's no practical limit. A really popular post could easily get thousands and thousands of comments. This is a textbook anti-pattern. As that one single document just balloons in size, it becomes an absolute performance disaster. Every time you read it, every time you add a comment, it gets slower and it costs you more in resource units. This is a trap you absolutely, positively have to avoid.
The right way to do it is to reference the data instead. For those unbounded one-to-many relationships, or for data that's changing all the time, like stock prices, you just give them their own separate documents. Then, you simply include an ID to link them back. This whole strategy is about optimizing for your right performance.
Okay, so once you've figured out your data model, you've got to decide how you're going to pay for and operate this thing. Think of it like choosing the right engine for your car based on how you actually plan to drive it. You wouldn't put a Formula One engine in a city commuter, right?
Provision throughput is basically your unlimited data phone plan. You pay a fixed price every month for a guaranteed amount of power, which is just perfect for apps that have steady, predictable traffic. Serverless, on the other hand, that's your pay-as-you-go plan. You only pay for what you actually use, which makes it absolutely ideal for workloads that are spiky or just completely unpredictable.
And when you dig into the details, you can really see the trade-offs. With provisioned, you're buying predictability. You get that sustained traffic, a super strict sub-10 millisecond SLA, and you can go global across unlimited regions. With serverless, you're buying flexibility for that unpredictable traffic. But notice the compromises. You're limited to a single region, and the right performance guarantee just isn't quite as tight.
And here is where it really hits your wallet. For a low, spiky workload, serverless is an absolute no-brainer. I mean, look, it is drastically cheaper. But then look what happens when that workload becomes high and sustained.
the tables completely turn, and that fixed-price provisioned plan suddenly becomes the much more economical choice. It really, really all comes down to truly understanding your application's usage patterns.
All right, so now that we've got our foundation set, let's talk about a real superpower inside Cosmos DB. It's called the change feed. This is the feature that really unlocks those reactive, event-driven architectures that are so powerful today.
The best way to think about the change feed is like a breaking news alert for your database. Seriously, every single time a document gets created or updated, the change feed broadcasts that event. You can then listen to this feed to do all sorts of cool stuff, like trigger notifications, sync data with a search index, or even implement really advanced patterns like event sourcing.
But hang on, in an event-driven world, order is everything. I mean, processing events in the wrong sequence, that could lead to some really catastrophic data corruption. So how does the change feed make sure this doesn't happen?
And here it is. This is the critical piece of the puzzle. Order is only guaranteed within a specific partition key value. Whoa, that completely changes how you have to think about your partition key. It's not just a decision about storage and performance anymore. It is now absolutely vital for the logical correctness of your entire application.
Just look at this shopping cart example. By setting the partition key to username, we guarantee that all the events for any single user get processed in the exact order they happened. Add item A, then add item B, then remove item A, and then check out. Can you imagine if the checkout event got processed before the remove item event? The customer would be charged for something they didn't even want. The partition key is what makes all of that logic work correctly.
All right, we have covered the big strategic decisions. So now let's lock in all that performance with a few quick, non-negotiable pro tips that I think every single developer using Cosmos DB needs to know.
First up, your Cosmos client instance is thread-safe, and it's incredibly efficient at managing connections. So please, don't create a new one for every single operation. Create one single instance, a singleton, and reuse it for the entire lifetime of your application. You'll get much, much better performance.
Second, you have got to tune your indexing. By default, Cosmos DB just indexes every single property in your documents. It's flexible, sure, but it adds overhead to every single write operation, so be strategic about it. If you know you are never going to filter on a certain property, exclude it from the index. It is such a simple change that will directly speed up your writes and lower your costs.
And finally, this one sounds almost too simple, but it is so important. Place your application in the exact same Azure region as your Cosmos DB account. The speed of light is a real barrier, folks. This one simple step can take your latency from over 50 milliseconds all the way down to just 1 or 2 milliseconds. It's a huge difference.
And so here we are, right back where we started, talking about those critical decisions you make long before you write a single line of code. Your data model, your capacity mode, your partition key. These aren't just little database settings. They are the architectural blueprint for your application's entire future. They will define its performance, its cost, and its potential for years to come. So, the only question left is, what will you build?